Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. I can't believe they're giving us manga in this format. It's insane. And it's still ongoing. How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. Today I'm going to give you my overview of the latest manga from Smudge, which is an imprint of Living the Line. We're going to be looking at Hide and Seek. This is by Naono Yoshiko, and for the first time, this horror manga has been translated into English. And welcome back, everybody. Before going any further, a big thank you to the folks at Living the Line for sending us a copy of this book. This manga is due out in the direct market and book market on May 12th, although some places will be getting it a little bit earlier, and that's due to distribution. But the official date across the board is May 12th, 2026. So this is Hide and Seek by Naono Yoshiko. It is the first time I've read this particular stories in here, and also the first time I've read any of Naono Yoshiko's work. Let me show you the trim size of the manga first. So I wanted to compare it to a tankobon right here. This one, of course, from Viz. So it's both taller and longer. It's actually closer to the Viz Signature series, if you look how tall it is. And honestly, just as long. So to kind of give you an idea of just how big this tankobon is. There's Hide and Seek, Naono Yoshiko, and this young lady who plays a role in the main story, the first story, not the main story, sorry. And then later on, she shows back again. But it's the same young girl. We saw the spine, and then the back of the book. Horror, manga, graphic novel, the Smudge logo right there. And then a little bit about the stories and the ISBN, $19.99. It is a soft cover. So let's go ahead and open it up and show off this artwork and talk about some of the stories found in this anthology and what makes it so unique. Okay, let's go ahead and get this tankobon open. And here are the stories you're going to be looking at through here. Over here on the right hand side is the different Smudge titles that started with her Frankenstein and when the books or the stories were originally published, and then leading to this latest one being the 7th volume from the Smudge line, Hide and Seek. But over here also you'll see when the stories originally were published. So this is collected in a chronological order of publishing date. And the book itself has 268 pages. So that is Mariko, who I mentioned was the star of the very first book, but also could be a returning character for another story. We'll see. And Naono Yoshiko here. Whose child is Mariko? So I'm going to not talk about every single one of the stories in here. I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of what kind of horror stories and what this really is. So Mariko is the daughter to both this lady and her husband, but she has a younger brother. This is Satoshi. And she's asking her mother a very basic question, which is, am I really your child? Or am I someone else's child? That's the question that Mariko comes into the room asking her mother. It's like, you're being ridiculous. So one day, the parents decide to go and visit Mariko's uncle. He just has a newborn baby. And they're like, okay, we got to find a sitter. And Mariko's like, no, wait, I can watch the baby. I can watch my baby brother. And they're like, really? And she's like, I'll watch him. I'm a big girl. And she asks again, am I really your child? In the same way that the Satoshi is your child? And the mom just gets frustrated. She's like, look, you are. Kind of like a mother would, right? Like, why is this child asking this question to begin with? So the parents go off to visit the uncle, to go see the newborn. And Mariko is alone with the baby boy. Now, when the parents come back, they bought her a present. They were like, oh my gosh, Mariko, you're so grown up. You're so mature for your age. Thank you so much for watching your little brother. And they're like, okay, where's Satoshi? And Mariko's like, oh, wait, he's at the neighbor's. And she runs out while the parents go to the neighbor's house to go and find the baby brother. As she runs out, it's not graphic or anything. I mean, it's dark. She runs out to the river or the pond, the stream, and she is there and she sees his blanket. And I thought the story continued because I was like, wait, what is this? I didn't realize this was the beginning of another story until I got to this page. I'm like, oh, okay, the story's over. I was like, is this Satoshi when he's older? Like, what happened? So this is an anthology of stories that are collected in this book, and they're very horror, but I'll explain here in a little bit as I talk more about the other stories. This is the wool overalls, about a young boy right here who is ashamed of these overalls or these wool clothing that his grandma is making him, and he wishes for something dark, something that he shouldn't be wishing. Lady Otsuta is a lady that is a mythical creature, perhaps, that is going after people's heads, trying to replace the beauty of her own head. And then two sisters kind of get involved. This one is really sad. Okay, so let me give you the pitch of this one. This is called The Ribbon. So I'll talk about what these stories are really like. So this is a story about two friends. You have Chi and Eiko. And Chi-chan, as Eiko calls her, feels guilty for Eiko losing her eyesight, and she feels guilty because it was a firework accident, something exploded, and she feels like she's at fault. So she makes her a promise that when she gets old, Eiko can have her eyes. When she gets old and dies. Sorry, that has to come first. Eiko thinks that she's being a burden to her friend Chi-chan. They call each other A-chan and Chi-chan, by the way. But she senses that Chi-chan is falling in love for someone named Ken, and Chi-chan's like, no, you're not being a burden, not at all. And then Chi-chan starts feeling a little bit of guilt and also this baggage because she can't fall in love because she feels responsible for Eiko losing her eyesight, so she's always helping her. She's always with her. How is she going to move on with her life if Eiko is always at her side? She can't fall in love. She can't live a normal life. So she plans, well, maybe if she dies, maybe with this ribbon that I'll tie on top of the stair steps, maybe she'll fall to her death. And then, of course, instant remorse, like, that's I can't do that. Well, Eiko does fall to her death, and she realizes that this ribbon, like, tied across the top of the stairs, made Eiko fall to her death, and she thought she could live a life without Eiko, and it would be better. But she feels like she's going to live the rest of her life with just sorrow and guilt. And this is the last story I'll talk about in just a little detail, but this is Hide and Seek. This one is the title of the book, but Hide and Seek does feature the character of Mariko, but it is a different Mariko, because her and this friend are playing. Mariko's 3 years old, her friend is 5 years old, they're playing Hide and Seek. Mariko goes missing, and the entire town starts looking for her. And then it's not until her friend is 17 years old that a young woman claiming to be Mariko comes back. Anyway, it's that type of mystery. This one does have a little bit of a twist and turn, but it's a different character than the Mariko at the very beginning. I thought she was going to be a reoccurring character, but no, they're all standalone stories. Now, what this truly is a collection of horror manga that was originally published in Japanese girls' magazines. So it's not, like I mentioned, the body horror. It's not like jump scares. It's not psychological horror. But it's truly like the horror of things happening in children's everyday lives. Like a child going missing. That is a true horror to a parent. And then what happens when said child comes back? Is it really them or not? And then the guilt when Mariko, for example, is a little girl who envies her brother. And what she does with that. I mean, that is dark. The wool story about the grandmother that is just making clothes for her grandson, and he is ungrateful, and then the things that he wishes. It's just messed up. My favorite one in here I didn't talk about, but it is just a family vacation. I think it actually might be called Family Vacation or Family Trip. It's all about a family that gets on a boat. And that to me is just, it's a masterclass in the way that the tension rises between characters. So a lot of the stories in here really just, they all revolve around feeling guilt. And then, of course, your main character sometimes doing horrible things. And then they realize too late, oh, that was something really awful. Should have not done that. And then, of course, also revenge. There are stories of revenge to this book. And misunderstandings that lead into horrible things happening. And again, horrible things happening only to realize later the protagonist of the story saying, oh, that should not have escalated like that. I should have done something different. There is the last story in here that's not part of the... let me see if I can find it. Yes, right here. This is the World of Creepy Suspense. And it's all about a snake and a goddess. And this demon-like creature coming to life. But that one is, for some reason, not in the actual table of contents. Oh, no, it is. The Snake God. Okay, I was wrong. I don't know why I didn't think it was. Maybe it's because it didn't have a title? But this one here is the Bloody Diary pages. And then this one's the Snake God. Not sure why I didn't think it had a title. Now, what's really cool about the Smudge books is that it's not only just a manga, but also a historical look at this manga. And a little bio on the mangaka right there, Naono Yoshiko. One of the greatest shoujo trauma manga. And then right here is Down Memory Lane. Just visiting some of these stories. This is the Wool overall story. There's a good looking picture of her right there from 1970. The Experiment. Oh, and she was talking about the first time she was publishing comics and publishing right along The Legend of Kamui. Which is just awesome. That's an honor. But yeah, just going through her different art, and then of course where she ended up, and the type of stories that she wanted to tell, and a little bit of behind the scenes with like Hide and Seek and Revenge, Death and Burn, My Mother's Necklace, like just where the ideas came from, and like sometimes it comes from it comes from a place of a personal story. Sometimes it comes from I watch it on television. And then you see some of her artwork in here, too. Again, this particular book has a total of 268 pages. It does have glued binding, and it retails for $19.95. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsors.
If you're in Europe and you're interested in buying these books, definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices, flat shipping rate of €12 for all EU countries, emails answered within 24 hours, waltzcomicshop.com, and you can use the code nearmintcondition at checkout and get free shipping for all EU countries with your first order over €40. That's Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. Ding!
CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget that CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. That was the content and page count and build of this tankobon. In the comments down below, let me know if horror manga is up your alley and you want to check it all out. Doesn't matter when it was made. Or if you've heard of Hide and Seek or Naono Yoshiko. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button on the way out. Stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.